Hi there, and welcome to Blame It on the Inverts. I'm Sean. Today we're at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the current world record holder for most roller coasters in a single theme park. Out of the total 35 attractions here, 20 are roller coasters, leaving plenty of options for every roller coaster enthusiast to keep them busy throughout their day. There's a lot to cover, so what are we waiting for? Let's head in. Waiting to welcome you as you enter the park is the world's first modern roller coaster with a vertical loop, New Revolution. New Revolution originally opened in 1976 and has a course designed to play with the park's natural landscape. After climbing the lift hill through the trees, you go through a track layout full of dips and turns and of course that innovative vertical loop. New Revolution also happens to be an Ace Landmark roller coaster, and it's turning 50 next year. So next time you're at the park, make sure to leave some time to ride this iconic roller coaster. After that ride on Revolution, you have one decision to make. Do you go left towards X2 and Viper, or do you go right towards Full Throttle and Goliath? I usually go left. However, for today's touring purposes, we're gonna go to the right. So let's head to Full Throttle next. Full Throttle is a launch roller coaster that held the world record for tallest vertical loop when it first opened. Launching you right out of the station to get through that loop, sometimes it feels like you're barely gonna make it. After you get through, you head over the hill and dive into a tunnel that used to be used by the park's old monorail system. While it no longer holds the vertical loop record, Full Throttle is the only roller coaster in the world to utilize both the inside and outside of its vertical loop, and I think that's still a pretty cool distinction to have. Just past Full Throttle, you'll come across Magic Mountain's construction site for its newest roller coaster. Expected to open in 2026, it's going to be a first-of-its-kind coaster manufactured by the Dutch company Vekoma. Construction is in the very early phases, but I am planning on being back to the park in August for ACE's Preservation Conference, so if you'd like to see an update on the constructions, make sure to tune in. As you head towards Goliath, you'll walk by Bugs Bunny World, the family-themed area of the park. Bugs Bunny World is filled with rides for all those younger thrill-seekers to enjoy. And with 4 roller coasters, it's the perfect place for those enthusiasts just starting out to get a head start on that roller coaster credit count. But Sean, what's a roller coaster credit? You know, the easy way to answer that is any new roller coaster you've never been on counts as a new credit for you. And while every enthusiast doesn't necessarily keep track of their credit count, I do. I'm at 474, and my first new credits of the year are actually coming up in a few weeks, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can join me for the adventure. When Goliath first opened in February of 2000, it held the world record for tallest drop on a roller coaster. It only held that title for a few short months. However, Goliath still provides one of the smoothest roller coaster rides out there today. And that helix at the end is so intense, it has me seeing stars every time. Up next we have the Scream Punk District area of the park. This area is home to 2 of the park's roller coasters, starting with Twisted Colossus. Twisted Colossus is one of 2 racing-style roller coasters that Magic Mountain has. These coasters are very unique because there is only a single loading station. However, you get to ride both sides of the track. Twisted Colossus is also known as a hybrid roller coaster, meaning its supports are made of wood, while its track is made of steel. These types of roller coasters are highly innovative, and usually feature elements and inversions that you normally wouldn't find on a wooden roller coaster. Right next door, we have Scream, a floorless roller coaster. A floorless coaster means that there's no floor on the roller coaster train, leaving your feet dangling above the roller coaster track below you. With 7 inversions, Scream is always an enjoyable way to spend a portion of your day here at the park. Next up on our tour of the mountain is one of my favorite areas of the park, the DC Universe, home to another coaster that held the record for tallest vertical loop when it first opened, as well as my first B&M invert. But first, we're going to start with the most recent roller coaster to open at the park, Wonder Woman: Flight of Courage. Wonder Woman is a single rail roller coaster, which is a newer type of roller coaster model. A single rail roller coaster offers a very unique ride experience in comparison to the standard roller coasters. And when Wonder Woman first opened, it was the world's longest and tallest single rail coaster, titles it still retains to this day. Right behind Wonder Woman, we have Riddler's Revenge, the next coaster on our tour of Magic Mountain that held the world record for tallest vertical loop when it first opened. Riddler's Revenge is a stand-up roller coaster, and while it no longer holds that record for tallest vertical loop, it does retain that iconic B&M roar that you can hear from far-off distances throughout the park. Well, on my last episode, I told you I'd bring you to the first B&M invert that I ever rode, and we're here. However, that sign right there means it's not opening today. As an enthusiast, you do have to be prepared for the coasters to not always be open. They are machines and they do go down, although the parks, of course, do try to get them up and running as quickly as possible. Batman opened in 1994, and I was 12. Batman Returns had just opened a couple of years earlier. The hype was huge. And I know I talked about this already, but just being the first coaster with a track above you and your feet dangling, that was just such an amazing experience. They even have concrete pits throughout the course that they used to fill with mist. I don't know if they still do that, but it just added to the whole experience. So again, just, being that age and riding a brand new type of roller coaster, which is so influential, and I will always take time out of my day to ride a B&M invert if there's one in a park. Just past Riddler's Revenge, there's a pathway that leads up the hill to a couple of iconic roller coasters here at Magic Mountain. Ninja is a suspended roller coaster where the track is above you and cars that dangle below. The cars swing freely throughout the course, which always makes for a real wild ride. Superman, Escape from Krypton, is a launch roller coaster located just down the pathway from Ninja. Hitting speeds of 100 miles an hour and a height of 300 feet tall, both were world records when the roller coaster first opened. A few years ago, they decided to install a drop ride on the side of the tower, known as Lex Luthor Drop of Doom. At the bottom of that pathway, we have one of the original attractions when the park first opened in 1971, the Gold Rusher. Gold Rusher is another great example of a roller coaster that was designed to play with its natural landscape and is always a really fun ride. Next up, we have West Coast Racers, the second racing-style roller coaster here at Magic Mountain. The big difference between West Coast Racers and Twisted Colossus is that West Coast Racers races every single time. It is always so much fun to watch the train next to you to see which one is going to cross that finish line first. Just past West Coast Racers, we have Apocalypse, the park's wooden roller coaster. Apocalypse has a great layout for a wooden roller coaster, filled with drops, turns, and even a station fly-through. Just over the hill from Apocalypse, we have Viper, the final coaster on today's tour of Magic Mountain that held the world record for tallest vertical loop when it first opened. Viper also happens to be the very first coaster I rode during my first visit to the park. I will always remember that first ride through those 7 iconic inversions, and I can say with confidence that Viper is one of the roller coasters that turned me into an enthusiast. Out of the 474 roller coasters I've ridden, Magic Mountain is home to 2 in my top 10, and I've saved them both for the end of our tour. Tatsu and X2. Tatsu, in my mind, is as close to a complete coaster experience as you can get. Every ride, you feel like you are the dragon flying around the mountain. The turnaround where you can see the entire DC universe in the Santa Clarita Valley is stunning, and that pretzel loop is one of the most intense out there. Don't forget that fly around over the fountain. It is magical every single time. Tatsu is usually where I start my days here at Magic Mountain, unless the final coaster on our tour is open at rope drop, X2. X2 was the world's first four-dimensional roller coaster when it opened back in 2002. A four-dimensional roller coaster has the track in the middle and seats on either side that are programmed to rotate throughout the ride. And it's as wild as it sounds. X2 was my milestone 50th roller coaster ever ridden, and it held the top spot in my overall rankings for nearly 2 decades. I still have it ranked as my number 3 overall, and I will always take time out of my day to go give it a ride when I visit Magic Mountain. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour of Magic Mountain. If you've been to the park before, let me know what your favorite roller coaster here is. And if you haven't been here, let me know which one you're running to at your first rope drop. Next time, we'll be visiting SeaWorld San Diego, so make sure you have those notifications turned on so you don't miss the next episode. I'll see you soon.